Hurry up. I really want to sign in with an account because I want to see what and to sign in with an account is free. Just need a Gmail account. And let's see if it recognizes my password there. Yeah or nay. Let's go. Hurry up. Okay. I was curious. The reason I logged in is so that I can get the cost per click. The fact that we already saw a couple of sites that are paying money to do that, yeah, look at that. Drain cleaning. See, look, we just found a niche right freaking there. So look how simple that is. And you could completely dominate that in 50 cities, like literally within a few weeks, and just pound that out. It's $21 cost per click, which is fantastic, right? Which means you can charge more than that for a live call, and definitely at least that for a email lead, which is way hotter than just a click. Come on. Competition is high. Forget that. You got an exact match domain. We had draincleanersphoenix.com available. Are you joking me? And that was just in the first 20 cities. So let's take a look at the other. See, there's so much abundance of opportunity out here. It's unbelievable. You just find it everywhere. It's literally dripping over all of us constantly. DrainCleaningTucson.com. Seriously, kick ass here. Seriously, Raleigh Hills, Washington, Kansas. There you go. Bam. There's another niche. I can't remember how we got here, but who cares? Let me go back to my slides. That's probably what brought me here. When I get my site to page 1, calls come. Okay, so I totally sidetracked here on probably one of the best questions of the day. Sorry. So how do I select the right company to do business with? Exactly how I just showed you there. Probably the first two, because they're so there was so much kind of opt-in type of stuff going on there that I'm thinking to myself, those first two I'm looking at were probably lead gen sites, more than likely. And so I kind of like that one that was like whatever it was, Rick and Sons Plumbers or whatever. That just looked kind of like a real local company, and that's one you could target with. They're already paying for pay-per-click, so they freaking get it, and more than likely they're probably on page 1 too. So if they're on page 1 and they're doing pay-per-click, and you know they look established, and you can see that they're paying for advertising and they're paying for SEO if they're on page 1, especially in like a plumbing market, then bam, you're in. Now look, this is also a perfect example of how you could take a competitive marketplace like plumbers, kind of research around like the little 10 minutes that we just did now, and find a niche within that niche, right? The riches are in the niches. Drain cleaning, plumbing, Phoenix, whatever. I mean, there's domain names all over the place like that. .com, .org, .net, bam, you're on page 1 within, 2 days, 14 days, bam, you're done. Just follow exactly what I say. How much time can I expect to speaking with the customer, particularly to sell the service, as I'm trying to determine how much can be handled before that end of it? You're going to need to spend some, at least an initial conversation with the client to educate them. Now, if you do a call whisper and send them to a website, and your website educates the client on what your service is about, that time that you spend with the client could be 0 to greatly reduced when you actually talk to them, if you even need to. Because you've already explained that, and they've been getting the calls in, so it's proof in advance. They're already getting the proof that they're getting the phone calls in, so they don't want it to go to somebody else. They want to keep getting those, and that's part of your message. If you want to keep getting these free calls, contact me, and so I can keep sending them to you. So how do we select the right company? A, they're advertising. They're already doing like a pay-per-click campaign. B, they're already on page 1 as though they've already been doing some marketing. So they understand and they get that being on page 1 and Google is going to get them some results, and they're used to paying for advertising. They've got a budget to do it. These kind of clients are going to get it. Are they always going to get it? Do they always want your services? No. Life just doesn't work that way. But most of the time, it's more calculated that they will. Great question. Thank you for that. Quick drink of water. Yeah, my voice is starting to go. How many questions we got here? Okay. I can feel my vocal cords are killing me. When setting up the subdomain websites for adjoining cities like you did in the Mobile Mechanic Chicago example, did you post original articles for each of the subniches, Cicero, Arlington Heights, Oaklawn, etc., or were the articles originally posted to Mobile Mechanics URL sufficient? That's a great question, and everyone should be doing. By the way, if you haven't gone to the experiment module and watched this experiment, which has got 2 videos on it, and some mind maps and stuff like this, do it right after this phone call. Seriously, you need to apply what I applied to the Mobile Mechanics Chicago site to every single one of your sites out there. Because I was able to almost, by just a few phone calls or just a few visitors, double the amount of people who visit a site, which equates to phone calls, right? An increase in phone call volume as well, by simply adding, with no extra post, no backlinks, only adding to an existing site. So basically what happened is that I had a site, Mobile Mechanic Chicago, which was already ranking #1, using the steps that I taught in the course, that I teach in the course. And then I thought, well, Chicago's a really big area. I should try to get some more phone calls in here. How can I do this? And so this is actually recommended by someone who's a member of ours, Steve, who is a fantastic offline marketer, and he's actually been a guest on our call out of Las Vegas, and he had a niche in the San Diego area, and he was sharing with me how he increased his call volume, and I was like, wow, I gotta do a test on that. That's awesome. So it's really simple. I literally just copied and pasted the home page for Chicago, our Mobile Mechanic Chicago. I literally copied and pasted it, less the geo-targeting of it, okay? So the zip codes in the service areas were now going to be Cicero, and the next one was going to be Arlington. But Cicero doesn't, and I show you how to do it, how to find the zip codes and all that, step by step in the course. And Cicero maybe has 1 or 2 zip codes, and the city name is Cicero, and it's just a little suburb, just a few miles, literally a few miles, 5 minutes on the freeway from downtown Chicago, in Arlington Heights and Oaklawn and so on. And I was able to double the amount of people who came to the site by doing that without any extra backlinks. And we are ranking in the top 3, if not #1, for Cicero, Arlington Heights, Oaklawn, all the suburb areas in there. But the base of it was, and I think this is important, is that Mobile Mechanic Chicago was already ranking #1, okay, as outlined in there, and then we added it in there with no extra post or bookmarking links or none of that kind of stuff. So great question and good emphasis for everyone to do with their sites. What do you think about content curation for our silo post? Any good products to help us with? I think content creation is kick butt. I'm experimenting and have been with that, so I have some solid data to back this up. This is not opinion. If you've got some kind of automated curation thing to add for your silo post, freaking do it. We've been doing it. It works like gangbusters. Okay, that's really all I'll say about it now. I've actually developed a plugin that I'll be releasing soon. I've hinted to this earlier, that creates curated content specifically for silo structures, exactly how I teach in the course, and it is totally kicking ass. And of course, it means I don't need writers, okay, which is totally awesome because I spend a lot of money on writers every month. Bad for them, good for me. Anyways, that's all I'll say for now. So yay, 2 thumbs up all the way. Okay, I am new. Okay, great, congratulations. We all are new, right? and have not finished going through all the modules. No problem. There's actually quite a bit in there. But I'm wondering, how do you handle the time from when you have the website up and the calls are coming in before you have a real customer? Okay, so how do we handle that time? That's another fantastic question. That's probably the second best question of the day. Is how would I handle that time from the time I'm getting the site up until I'm getting the customers in? B, I would, as we mentioned earlier, I would be doing the call whisper. And if you're inclined to do so, the quickest, fastest way is just to pick up the damn phone and call. And that's what you would spend your time doing as that site's starting to rank. Now, if you follow the course as I teach, then you should be ranking on page 1 and getting calls within 2 to 2 weeks, or 2 days to 2 weeks. Okay, and I have live examples of that. As long as you're following what I'm teaching, and in fact, just the example I gave here, drain cleaning Phoenix. I mean, these are examples of you can rank these in 2 days to 2 weeks. Seriously, somewhere in between there. Just build the site out, the silo structure exactly how I teach. It's going to freaking rank. Trust me. And I would find clients and qualify clients, as we talked about earlier in the call, and I would start forwarding those calls to them. And then I would start researching your niche and either honing down on your niche and saying, okay, this I'm waiting for these 2 to 5 cities to kind of get up to page 1. All the sites are done. I've got some downtime. What do I need to do? Number 1, you can do the call whisper. Number 2, you can start calling and start pre-selling these in advance. Number 3, which we'll add this experiment here shortly. We're almost done with the data. You can actually mail out. We've been doing I can share some preliminary research with this. We've just been using these basic manila envelopes and just literally a handwritten 1-page basically a letter, sending them to a site to learn more. So it's very personalized looking. It costs us about $1.50 a piece total. And when we're sending out 100 of these, we get about a 25% response rate, and about 10% of those become clients. So out of 100 that we send out to targeted people, we get 10 clients that call us back and say, "Yeah, we're ready to go." So these are things you could do. You could also be researching your next niche as well and start to kind of build that up. Or the other thing you could be doing is start to be thinking about how you're going to build your team to start to replicate, or how you're going to start to replicate your 2 to the 5 sites. Once you get them up, you get clients in, it's like, okay, good, I got this working, I got the price figured out, I'm ready to rock and roll. Now I'm going to go 25, 50 cities. Boom. How am I going to do that? Am I going to do that by myself? Okay, great. Then I need to have a game plan to do it. Am I going to hire somebody part-time or full-time to help me out with that? Great. How am I going to do that? What kind of training am I going to provide to them? What's going to be the game plan to do that? That's what I would be doing with that time. Good question. Thank you for that. Alrighty. So I'm going to get to the questions that are in the chat box now that I'm sure that are building up on here, but I just want to remind you with what we started with today, which is what we surround ourselves with, we tend to become. Okay, we are what we eat. We are who we surround ourselves with. So I'll open up the question box on here. Bam, tons of great questions on here.